Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Cantor Siegel and I, Rabbi Gail Pomerantz, are delighted to share this moment with your family of Sam Shmuel Eitan's bar mitzvah, when he'll be called to the Torah as a bar mitzvah in a little while in our service. So we want to invite everybody to just take a deep breath and put aside all the worries of reaching this moment of a bar mitzvah during a pandemic. Breathe as deeply as you can under a mask. And we welcome all of you who are live streaming or in the Zoom room. They're waving to us. Thank you all for joining us here this afternoon. We are going to warm ourselves up with the singing of a nigun, a wordless melody. And as we sing, I want to remind you to please, if you haven't already silenced your cell phones, to please take a moment and check that they're on silent. Thank you. Cantor?
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la. Custom for our bar mitzvah to lead us in worship, and so I invite Shmuel Eitan to rise and go to the pulpit. That's you, Sam. For the chanting of the Ashrae, which is on page 220 in your prayer books.
We chant the Ashrae responsively. Ashrae yoshvei veitecha, odi hallelujah, selah.
Ashrae ha'am shekachalo, Ashrae ha'am shadonai Elohav.
Tehillah leDavid, aramimcha Elohai ha'melech, va'aracha shimcha leolam va'ed.
V'chol yom avarchecha, v'ahala shimcha leolam va'ed.
Gadol Adonai umhulal me'od, ve'li gdulato ein heker.
Dor ledor yishabach ma'asecha, ugvurotecha yagidu.
Hadar kevod chodecha, v'divrei nifleotecha asicha.
Ve'ezuz nerotecha yomeru, udulatecha asaprena.
Zecher rav tuvecha yabiu, ve'tzidkatecha yeranenu.
Chanun v'rachum Adonai, erech apayim ugdol chesed.
Tov Adonai lakol, v'rachamav al kol ma'asav.
Yoducha Adonai kol ma'asecha, v'chasidecha yivarchucha.
Kevod malchutecha yomeru, ugvuratecha yedaberu.
Lehodia lifnei ha'adam gevurotav, uchvod hadar malchuto.
Malchutecha malchut kol olamim, umemshatecha bechodor vador.
Somech Adonai l'chol hanoflim, v'zokef l'chol hakafufim.
Eine kol elecha yesaberu, ואתה נותן להם את אוכלם בעיתו.
פותח את ידיך ומשביע בכל חי רצון.
צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו, וחסיד בכל מעשיו.
קרוב אדוני לכל קוראיו, לכל אשר יקראוהו באמת.
רצון יראיו יעשה, ואת שבתם ישמע ויושיעם.
שומר אדוני את כל אוהביו, ואת כל הרשעים ישמיד.
תהילת אדוני ידבר פי, ויברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד.
ואנחנו נברך יה מעתה ועד עולם, הללויה.
Please turn to page 224 for Lechatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ויעמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי המאיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשיו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא ויאמרו
Sam, this is the moment that you're going to receive this very handsome talit from your parents' loving hands. And you know, the significance of the talit is actually these four corners that are called tzitzit. And these tzitzit are supposed to remind us of our obligation to live a good and righteous life. Now, you told me that your favorite subject at school was math, which is not my favorite subject at all, so I really admire that. But I want to teach you something about the tzitzit. In Hebrew, every letter has a numerical value. Aleph is 1, Bet is 2, Gimel is 3, and so on. Tzitzit, if you add up those letters, it equals 600. Okay? In each tzitzit, there are 8 strings and 5 knots. So what's 8 plus 5?
13.
13. And 13 plus 600?
613.
613, which is the number of mitzvot that there are. So they are literally a reminder of the mitzvot. This is also a symbol of love, because when your parents put it on your shoulders, they're doing so with love. And I hope that every time you wear it, you're not only reminded of the good choices you should make in life, but also of how loved you are. And I hope you also feel embraced by God. So I'm going to call your parents up to present you with this talit. And now, Sam, you'll recite the blessing before wearing a talit.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, lahitatef b'tzitzit.
Amen. Amen. And now you'll put it around your son's shoulders. And you can give him a big hug. And we're going to take a moment to thank God for enabling all of you to be here and to have arrived at this very special day, the final bar mitzvah of your 3 children.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Just do this now. Sam, before we talk about you, I want to acknowledge your mom. I said it at your sister's bat mitzvahs, and I'll say it again. Sorry. The single most important and best decision I ever made was asking your mother to marry me. I know sometimes she still questions why she said yes, but we're all better for it, and she enriches our lives and makes it better every day. So thank you, Mom. Okay, Sam, let's talk about you. First, I'd like to start with a confession. I didn't want to have a 3rd child. I didn't, it's true. I figured we had 2 healthy, beautiful daughters, so why tempt fate? Also, raising kids is difficult, and it seemed like 2 was a good number for us. I used to tell our friends that the world wasn't actually round, it was square and made for 4, not round for 5. So I told Mom we were finished having kids, but Mom wanted to have a 3rd kid. She told me a 3rd child would complete our family. I insisted she was mistaken. So like all successful couples, we compromised and had you. Sam, I am so happy that I convinced your mom to have a 3rd child. What a spectacular person you are. At only 13, you are such a better man than me. I have already learned, excuse me, I have already learned more from you than I could ever hope to teach you, and I cannot imagine our lives without you in it. You have enhanced everything, completed the picture, smoothed out the sharp edges of the square, and rounded us into the family we are today.
On this momentous day in your life, just like at your sister's bat mitzvahs, our thoughts once again turn to what we know about you and what we wish for you. We know that you are an extremely kind and generous person. You are exceedingly polite, well-mannered, and an absolute pleasure to spend time with. I think you know that what makes us prouder than anything else is when we are told by others how polite, kind, and considerate you are, and we hear this very often. We know that you are uniquely talented. You have a creative talent that I always wished for, both with drawing and playing the guitar. I still remember when you were 5 years old, you came to me and asked me to pull up an image of the Lion King on my computer screen. You then asked for a pencil and paper and asked me to leave. I left you sitting at my desk for an hour, which at your age was a very long time, And when I came back, you had drawn an image that was an exact replica of the one on my computer screen. You had this amazing attention to detail at such a young age. And what did I do? I ran out. I found a teacher from the Newark School of the Arts to come to our house to give you private drawing lessons. You went on to produce many, many masterpieces from there. And following in Sydney's footsteps, you took up the guitar at the age of 6, both acoustic and electric, and even a little bass. And then you set very difficult goals for yourself, like learning a hard solo or classical piece that you always live up to. We know that you value family and tradition. You love spending time with your aunts and uncles and cousins and grandparents, and you're always asking about your history and your great-grandparents with whom you haven't met but still feel connected to. Your favorite car is your great-grandfather's 1967 Mustang, because you love the fact that it has been a part of your family, of our family, for over 50 years. We also know that you are very resilient. When we first told you almost a year ago that we recommended that you have your bar mitzvah virtually, instead of putting off the date to a later time, you were understandably disappointed. But you recognized the importance of this milestone, and that delaying it so you can have a party took away from its true meaning. So you told us you wanted to move forward and complete the mitzvah today. You have been resilient in so many other ways during the past year, and this has not been an easy year. From being the only kid in some of your classes to attend school virtually while your friends were all there in person, to finding ways to connect with family and friends that you couldn't see in person, to taking up hobbies and activities that you could still do during COVID, like taking long bike rides with us, completing numerous puzzles, and practicing the guitar. You did all this with very little complaining.
We know that you are diligent and hardworking. When you put your mind to something, it gets done, and done right. Before you came along, I would bring home things from IKEA and put them together. And inevitably, when I finished the project, or thought I had finished it, there were always 12 screws left over. So I figured they gave me extra screws. And then when you got old enough to start helping me, you would put them together, first with my help, and then without my help, because I really wasn't any help. And I realized there were no extra screws. I just hadn't taken the time to read the directions and do the project properly. But you do. You follow through. We know that you are patient and that you are not deterred when something difficult is put before you. Only a patient man loves to go to the deep ocean, get rocked around for hours, while fighting off seasickness and manning multiple rods, in the hopes that you might catch a couple fish. But you love it. And more than that, you are endlessly curious about the process and constantly learning how to improve. And while many kids, including you, love playing team sports, you have spent the last 2 years competing in cross country, a sport which involves long practices and brutal races where you have only yourself to rely upon. And you have patiently and diligently improved at the sport, setting a goal this year of reaching the conference championship and completing a 2-mile race in under 14 minutes, which you did just a couple days ago. But what most impresses me every time you finish a race that I watch is that you first run up to your teammates and congratulate them for the job that they did. You are so selfless. It is stunning to watch, and it's truly a beautiful thing. These are the things we know about you, Sam. But today, as we look to the future, we also think about the things that we wish for you. There are things we wish for you that we cannot control, like good health for you, our family and friends, and a peaceful world for you to grow up and live in. But there are also things that we wish for you that you can control by the choices that you make.
We wish that you will always chase your passion and that you will one day choose a life partner and profession that bring you both fulfillment and purpose. Life is about making decisions, and we hope that you continue to experiment, try new things, and find out what you love to do and who you love to do it with. Just because you are naturally inclined to do something doesn't mean you should do it. Follow your instincts, outwork everyone else, and try not to compromise. We wish that you will choose to live a life connected to Jewish customs and practices. You've already had the privilege of visiting Israel and experiencing our history firsthand and attending Jewish day school, and we hope that as you grow older, you continue to explore your roots that connect all of us together.
Finally, as our youngest and last child, unless Mom says differently, we have one final wish for you and your sisters, all of you, that you always remember that it is the ride and not the destination that matters. And we know that you have loved the journey that has taken you to this day. Over winter break, when we drove 20 hours to DC, you couldn't wait to get in the car each day and listen to music with us, or just be with the 5 of us together. You love the journey, the process. Always try and enjoy the ride, no matter where it takes you, or what speed bumps you hit along the way. They're there for a reason, and it is how you deal with adversity that will define your life. You have already had a few bumps in the road, but we already see you learning how not to get defeated by them, and instead using them to learn and grow as a person. But ultimately, like your sisters, what we wish for you on this day most of all is simple, that you, not us, want what we want for you. Becoming an adult means it doesn't matter anymore what Mom and I want for you. It's all about what you want. And there is no doubt in our minds that you, Sam, are on a path that will lead you to all things great, big and small. We love you. Mazel tov.
Sam, I love you so much. I'm so happy that I've been able to watch you grow up for the past 13 years. And I'm so happy that Mom and Dad decided to have you. Even though it made me the middle child, I still love you. I can't believe the amazing person that you've become. I've seen you grow into a mature, sweet, funny, smart, slightly annoying person, and I've loved sharing every moment with you. First of all, I would like to thank you for being like the sister I never had. Just kidding, I'm kidding. But I do say that because you'll watch girly movies with me even if you don't want to, and you get my Clueless references and my Legally Blonde jokes, and when you do, it makes me so happy. You'll let me drive you to Starbucks just so I can have a friend in the car. You used to let me make pool and trampoline dances with you to show everyone else, but I think you grew out of that. But still, thank you for being girly just for me. On the other hand, I love that I can be competitive with you. I have so much fun during our Nerf wars and our Mario Kart competitions, even though I lose most of the time. I love that we can talk about Marvel movies for hours without getting bored. And of course, I loved our trampoline competitions. They were the highlight of my quarantine. I hope you know that. Okay, but the one thing that you and I have a really strong bond over is music, and I'm so happy to have someone like you to share that with. I'm so proud that I'm your older sister, because when I tell other musicians or rock ensemble kids that you're my brother, they freak out. Without even knowing we're related, they obsess over you because of how young and talented you are. I hope you know that, it's true. But thank you for sharing your love of music with me. I'm so happy that I was able to pass that to you. I love learning new songs together, like our Rush medley, or attempting to write songs, or just talking about our favorite bands. One of my favorite moments with you was when we were in the Dominican Republic. When we were walking on the beach, we were talking about our ideal band, playing the perfect song. It was November Rain. I love the chances I get to teach you new techniques and songs, although there are rarely any, because at this point, you definitely know more than me. And lastly, I can't wait for us to be in rock ensemble together. We're going to be so lucky to have guitarists as amazing as you. Sam, I love you so much, and I can't wait to see who you become. You've grown into such a mature young boy, and I'm so glad I've been able to watch it happen. I can't believe that you are now becoming a man. Although the world will watch you grow, you'll always be like my little brother, and that is something that will never change. Just know that I will always love and be here for you no matter what. I love you so much, and I'm so proud of you.
Sam, can I just say, I'm so proud of the man you've become today. I'm gonna get a little soppy, just because I have to. This is probably the one and only time you will hear me say these nice things about you. So take it all in while it lasts. I can't believe you're 13 and officially becoming a man. It feels like just yesterday when you were walking around the house with your Hello Kitty purse, dress, and heels, and dancing to Hairspray and Mamma Mia with Sydney and I. Although your mannerisms have changed, you'll always be like a little sister to me. I'm just kidding. Okay, on to the serious stuff. Honestly, Sam, the thought of me leaving you to college next year scares me and saddens me that I'm leaving. I love how close we've gotten, even though we're so far apart in age. Thank you, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, for putting up with Sydney and I, and for always wanting to spend time with me and Sydney and I together. I appreciate all the times you've attempted to teach me how to fish. We could ignore the fact that I reel the rod backwards. You teaching me how to play Fall Guys or Fortnite sessions in the garage that last a long time. And all the times I tuck you into bed at night and Trixie follows me into the room and we have a little party in your room all together, telling stories about Trixie's past lives. Inside joke. Those little moments with you where we're just being ourselves and having fun are some of my favorite life memories. Sorry, I can't stop sniffling. That I'll take with me to college and beyond. I don't know why I'm crying. Sorry. I can't even see the words on the thing. Our perfect age gap of 5 years has made it so our relationship is mostly fun and games, and barely any arguments or disagreements, except for the occasional argument or scuffle. And I love that about us. And I'm really going to miss seeing you every single day next year. Thank you for being the best little brother I could have honestly ever asked for. You are so caring and kind, and you're always willing to develop as a person for the better, which is something most boys your age don't understand or know how to do. It's amazing to me how you listen to the advice Sydney and I give, and you learn from your big sisters and grow as a person. Buddy, I hope you never change. I'm going to miss you so much next year at college. Please come visit me wherever I am, and know there's always a place for you. I love you. What a great family. She's so beautiful. Okay. Continue to eat water? No. Okay.
Yep, and turn the page on. Say the instruction. Yep.
We turn to page 226 and rise for the Amidah.
Okay, take your binder, face the ark. See if you can hold this and you're going to leave the first part.
Adonai, sefata tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Yitzhak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וסוחר חסדי אבות אמהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן ואברהם ועזרת שרה.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
We remain standing for the Kedusha on page 232.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהייך ציון לדור ודור. Hallelujah.
Ledor vador,
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך,
ledor vador,
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, לדור ודור
נגיד גודלך,
ולנצח נצחים קדושתך
נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם לעולם ועד.
To all generations we will make known your greatness, and to all eternity proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O God, shall never depart from our lips.
Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. Please be seated.
That was great. Cantor out. Just kidding. We continue with Birkat Shalom, our prayers always for peace. Peace in our world, peace in Israel, peace everywhere, in our hearts. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam. V'tov b'einecha levarech et Amecha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amacha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. We take a few moments for our own silent reflection.
was beautiful.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sam, for that beautiful music that touched our hearts and opened our hearts. So that was spectacular. We're going to continue with our service now that we've all been hearts opened with Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service for the reading of the Torah, which is in fact the main event here today when Shmuel Eitan is called to the Torah as a bar mitzvah. Some of you have these programs in your hands, and with Sam's beautiful punim, his beautiful face on the cover. And inside here, we list the honors for this portion of the service. So we're going to continue on page 246, page 246 in your prayer books. Please rise.
Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, ki mitzion tetzeh Torah, u'devar Adonai Yerushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah. Gadol Adonai iti, u'neromema shemo yachdav.
Shmuel Eitan, Sam, this is the Torah, Israel's morashah, our sacred heritage and our inheritance. Wherever the Jewish people has been, the Torah has been with us, guiding us, teaching us, sustaining us, keeping us on the right path. You know, on the day of your bar mitzvah, you typically receive many gifts, but there is no gift more precious than the Torah. And while you can't take this Torah home with you, you carry it with you wherever you go. And it's been passed down from generation to generation so that you might receive it here today. And Rabbi Jonathan Sacks, who was the chief rabbi of England, says that we only pass on to our children what we ourselves love. And so this is a symbol of your family's love for this tradition. And so I'm going to invite up your grandparents and your parents to pass this Torah to you.
We are gifts and we are blessings. We are history in song. We are hope and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. We are words and we are stories. We are pictures of the past. We are לדור ודור נגיד God lecha. לדור ודור we protect this chain from generation to generation. לדור ודור these lips will praise your name. לדור ודור נגיד God lecha. לדור ודור we protect this chain from generation to generation. לדור ודור these lips will praise your name. Lecha Adonai hagedula v'hagevura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz lecha Adonai hamamlacha v'amid na'aseh lechol rosh. Find your bar. Where's your speech? Your speech. The bar Torah. Okay, it's going to be first, okay?
Okay.
Nice and slow. Let's wait till everybody gets settled, okay? We'll take this along.
Yeah.
Use this if you want. It's up to you. Okay, good. Nice and slow.
Good evening and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Let's get this out of the way from the start. This whole setup is very odd. I am standing on the bima of the synagogue facing rows and rows of empty seats. If the camera pointed at the seats in front of me, you would see what I see. This place is as empty as a Marlins game. But I am incredibly grateful for how this day has turned out. Although I may not be able to see you here physically, I feel the presence of each of you that is sharing this special day with me, and I am thankful for it. I never would have expected that friends and family in far-off places like California and Israel would have been able to attend this ceremony. But there you are, watching me from thousands of miles away. Thank you to everyone near and far for being here. I am incredibly grateful for it. My Torah portion is via Kel Pikudei. It is found in the book of Shemot Exodus, which is the second book of the Torah. In this portion, the Israelites have been wandering around after they have just left slavery from Egypt. Moses has been leading the Israelites and decides that he does not want to be their Pharaoh, and he is given the idea of instituting laws that govern the Israelites. So Moses climbs a mountain, and 40 days and 40 nights later comes back with the Torah. The Torah creates the concept of Shabbat. Now that the Israelites are free from slavery, Moses understands that they need to practice being free, and that is what Shabbat is for. It is a day where no Israelite works. After working for 6 days straight, the Israelites get a day off, and if they work, they shall be put to death, a spiritual death. This section of my Torah portion, where the Jews need to practice what it means to be free, is very important to me because it is very similar to what becoming a bar mitzvah means. Although I have never been enslaved, today is the day I become independent from my parents, and my actions rest at my feet, not theirs. Just like the Israelites, I am starting to practice how to be an independent being, still connected to but not entirely dependent upon my parents. Although my parents will continue to provide guidance and support and a roof over my head, rides to everywhere I need to go, and food and so much more, it is now my responsibility to make the right decisions and do the right thing. In this Torah portion, we learn that we do not have to continue doing things like we did in the past, and that is what we have to learn and practice how to do things differently. I am learning that I do not always have to act like a child, and I don't always need my parents to make every decision for me. And becoming a bar mitzvah means that I need to start practicing making my own decisions and owning the consequences of my decisions and actions. In the past, I have done things that have helped me prepare for becoming a bar mitzvah. Many years ago, when I first started playing guitar, my dad would constantly have to tell me to practice, and he would tell me how long I had to practice. Over the years, I have been practicing guitar without my dad having to ask me. I have made practicing guitar my responsibility and not his. Currently, I am raising money for an organization called Young Musicians Unite. YMU is an amazing not-for-profit organization that provides free in-school and after-school music programs to schools that currently have none. I raise money for this organization by myself without the help of my parents. My parents do not have to tell me how to raise money because I've learned to do it myself. I am giving tzedakah and donating a portion of my bar mitzvah money to YMU. I would like to thank the following people. Canner Nicholson, thank you so much for helping me prepare for this day. You are kind and patient and helped me learn so much in just a few months. So thank you, and I am grateful for all your hard work. Rabbi Davis, I couldn't have asked for a better mentor. You are funny, smart, and always give me a lot to think about. So I thank you for helping me get ready for this day. I am so grateful to have Rabbi Pomerantz and Cantor Siegel guide me during my service and for being so kind and patient. Sydney, you are such an amazing sister, and I'm so lucky to have you as a role model in my life. You are always there to give me advice whenever I need it, and even sometimes when I don't. I admire your passion for music and how skilled you are at playing classical guitars and rocking the bass. I work hard at classical guitar in the hopes that someday I can be as good as you have become. I love spending time with you at camp and knowing that you are there for me if I ever need anything. I always enjoy our time relaxing at the dining room table, working on a puzzle, or playing a card game. I know you are always there for me, just like I will always be there for you. I love you so much, and I am grateful to have you as my sister. Eliza, although it may be true that you didn't know that Michigan is a state, or that the cartoon movie Rio wasn't filmed in Puerto Rico, or anywhere else for that matter, I know that you are an incredibly smart and hardworking person. I look up to you and how you set your mind to something and accomplish it, no matter the obstacles. I also love that you are a fierce defender of our family who is the first to challenge anyone that dares to give me or Cindy a hard time. One time I came home after having an incident with a kid at school. You immediately called up the biggest friend you had at my school and told him to find the other kid and take care of him. Although Mom and Dad and I convinced you that that was a really bad idea, I still appreciated how much you care about me. I will miss you next year when you go to college. Not as much as Dad will, but I will miss you a lot. I love you, Eliza. Mom, I can't even describe how grateful I am to have you as my mother. You as well are an incredibly hard worker, and you are always super happy, and I love your sense of humor. You work so hard on this special occasion, and your work so hard to take care of me, Cindy, and Eliza, and let's be honest, Dad too. You are the glue that holds us together. You keep lots of lists so we don't forget anything. You also teach me important life lessons, and I thank you for that. I thank you for everything you've done for me, Mom. I love you. Dad, I am so grateful to have you as my dad. You show me all of the classic music I love, and every time we are in the car, you play a song from a band that I've never heard of before. You show me how hard work pays off. You influence me to run cross country and to get into good shape like you, even though you're really, really old. You also influence me to practice the guitar for hours and hours, like you practicing the piano. You have been playing the piano for only a few weeks and you are already so good. I love the times we spend together, whether it's on a boat fishing for dinner, riding our bikes, or riding on the Vespa. Dad, I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here today, everyone. I have had a lot of fun preparing for this day, and I am so happy you all can celebrate my bar mitzvah with me. Thank you all for being here, and Shabbat Shalom.
And we are so happy, Sam, to be here with you because you are an extraordinary young man, and it's a privilege to be here with you for this moment.
Thank you.
So What we're going to do now, for those of you who want to follow along as he chants Torah, is you can put aside your prayer book and take the big, thick Torah commentary out if you want. And he'll be chanting from page 612, chapter 35, verse 1. And I invite him to call up his aliyot.
Yeah. Ya'amdu ha'olim la'aliyah harishona. For the first aliyah, I would like to call up my grandparents, Janine and Dan Rubens, Karen Adler and Larry Greenwald, Nancy and Robert Stern, and my Aunt Emily Rubens to the Torah.
Yes. On this side, over here. Yeah, great. Tell me when you're all ready. Okay?
Okay.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamavarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher Barchar Banu Mikol Ha'amin, V'natan Lanu Et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayakel Moshe et kol adat b'nei Yisrael vayomer alehem Ele hadevarim asher tziva Adonai la'asot otam. Sheshet yamim te'aseh melacha uvayom hashevi'i yeh lachem kodesh Shabbaton l'Adonai kol ha'oseh vo melacha yumat lo teva'aru esh behol moshevotehem beyom
HaShabbat.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen. Feel free to congratulate him.
Yes.
Thank you.
Here's the next. Let's wait a second. Okay.
Yeah. No.
Ready, so.
Okay. Ya'amdu ha'olim la'aliyah hashniya. For the second aliyah, I would like to call up my aunt and uncle Diane and Mark Greenwald, and my cousins Jay and Eli Greenwald, and my aunt and uncle Rachel and Mike Hershkovitz, and my cousins Caleb, Elon, and Ziva Hershkovitz to the Torah.
So they're just going to do that. Okay. Just
Yeah. Baruch Adonai Hamavarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amin v'natan lanu et Torah. Baruch Atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomer Moshe el kol adat b'nei Yisrael lemor. Ze hadavar asher tziva Adonai lemor. Kehu me'itehem teruma l'Adonai kol nediv libo yevi'eha et terumat Adonai zahav v'chesef unchoshet utchelet ve'argaman V'tolat shani v'shesh ve'izim.
Blessing after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam Eloheinu Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Thank you for that cacophony. It was beautiful.
Okay, so now I'm off to the third hour.
Okay.
Got these names and their time was changed. Okay.
Ya'amdu ha'olim la'aliyah ha'shlishit Avi Eliezer ben Eliezer v'chai Imi Miriam bat Reuben Alter v'necha Pasha Ve'achyotai Ze'eva Umeira. For the third Aliyah, I would like to call up my parents, Melanie and Eric Greenwald, and my sisters, Eliza and Cindy Greenwald, to the Torah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamvarach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah. Amen.
Amen. Ve'orot Elim me'odamim ve'orot techashim ve'atzei shitim ve'shemen la'ma'or u'samim le'shemen ha'mishcha ve'liktoret hasamim ve'avne shoham ve'avne miluim le'afod ve'lachoshen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah. Amen. Congratulate him.
Beautiful chanting, Sam. For the final aliyah, which is known as the maftir, this is Sam's bar mitzvah aliyah, and it's our custom to chant it from our Sephardic silver scroll, which is inside the ark. So we're going to open the doors and invite you to please rise if you're able. And for this aliyah, we turn to page 634, chapter 40, verse 34.
Ya'amod habachor, of course, habachor bar hamitzvah v'aliyat haTorah, Shmuel ben Eleazar u'Miriam, chazak.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, ve'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vaychas he'anan et ohel moed, uchvod Adonai maleh et hamishkan, velo yachol Moshe levo el ohel moed, ki shachan alav he'anan, uchvod Adonai maleh et hamishkan. Ufhe'alot he'anan me'al hamishkan, yitz'u bnei Yisrael bechol masehem. Ve'im lo ye'aleh he'anan ve'lo yis'u ad yom ha'alto, ki anan Adonai al hamishkan yuma, ve'esh tiyeh laila bo lenei kol beit Yisrael.
Bechol masehem, chazak chazak v'nitchazek, chazak chazak v'nitchazek, chazak chazak v'nitchazek.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Yesher koach. You may all be seated. So Sam, before your Haftarah, I want to have the opportunity to give you a blessing. And I have to say that I'm filled with emotion because you are such an extraordinary young man. And you know, there is an expression in Israel, Acharon Acharon Chaviv, which means the last, the best. Sorry, girls. But today you really touched all of us deeply with your words and your speech, your chanting, your music. I mean, you are just such a wonderful young man. And you know, your Torah portion talks about Bezalel, who was the architect and the artist that constructed the tabernacle. And the Torah calls him Chacham Lev. Chacham Lev means wise-hearted. And when you and I spoke, I felt like this expression fit you so beautifully because you are a wise-hearted young man. When I spoke to your mom yesterday, I said that you were sweet, sensitive, and smart. And the first two adjectives are not ones you normally use for a 13-year-old boy. So you are really special, and I hope you know that. When I asked you about problems in the world, and after talking about poverty, you said something that really struck me. You said, I try to pay attention and stay aware so I can notice when people need my help. And that is a statement that many adults couldn't even make. You know, this notion of really being present and being attuned to what's needed of you in the world. And I hope you always maintain that. Now, your dad shared a story about you that I want to give the Jewish version of that story. Your dad shared the IKEA story, right?
So there's a story that comes from this week's Torah portion about Bezalel, the artist. But first it starts with Moses, because God calls Moses up to the mountain, right, and gives him instructions for the construction of the tabernacle. And God tells Moses how to fashion the menorah, because the very first tabernacle had a menorah, and every sanctuary since has a menorah. There's ours over there. And we're taught in this midrash that Moses comes down twice and can't remember the instructions that God has given him, right? So he goes back up a third time to get the instructions. And this time, God actually creates a model for him to teach him how to construct the menorah. And he gets down the third time, and Moses still can't remember how to make the menorah. So that's when God tells him, get Bezalel to do it for you. And Bezalel is this creative genius and gets the idea of how to make the menorah 1, 2, 3. And what I love about this story is it really teaches us that even the great and awesome Moses had things that he wasn't good at. And Bezalel had things that I'm sure he wasn't good at. But every single one of us has got a unique talent and gift to give. And like Bezalel, you have that creative spark, and that you're able to make music and to draw and to really touch people in a different way. And not only to make music because you enjoy it, but to help other young people, enable them to make music through Young Musicians Unite. So that is a wonderful gift that you bring. And the last thing I want to say to you is that I know in your life right now, you are juggling many things. That was a pun. Did you get it? Juggling? You are juggling many things. You are running cross country. You are doing your schoolwork. You are fishing. You are spending time with your family and biking and all the things, making your music. And through all of that, you manage to devote time to creating this holy occasion for your family and becoming a bar mitzvah. And all of us need reasons to celebrate right now. And you gave your family and friends a really significant reason to celebrate and be proud of you. And I hope that you will continue throughout your life to help make them proud of you and to bring all your special and unique gifts to the universe. We are so proud of you, Sam, and look forward to watching you continue to grow into this extraordinary human being that God intended for you to be. And it is my great pleasure to bless you on behalf of Cantor Siegel and myself with the words of the ancients. So just put your arms out. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha. May the light of God's face shine on you and shine through you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's presence always be with you and grant you a lifetime of good health, of joy, of love, and of peace. And I know you, Shmuel, will be among those to help bring that shalom, that wholeness and holiness to our world. Amen and mazel tov.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And now we have your Haftarah.
Find HB1, okay?
Yeah. The Haftarah for Shabbat HaChodesh can be found on page 1457. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza v'divrehem hane'emarim be'emet Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'v'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. Kol ha'am ha'aretz yiyu ha'teruma hazol lanasi be'Yisrael ve'al chanasi yeh ha'olot ve'chamincha ve'chanesech בחגים ובחודשים ובשבתות בכל מועדי בית ישראל הוא יעשה את החטאת ואת המנחה ואת העולה ואת השלמים לכפר בעד בית ישראל. Our Haftarah continues toward the end at verse 25. Bashevi'i b'chamisha asar yom lechodesh b'chag ya'aseh ha'ele shiv'at hayamim kachatat ka'olah v'chamincha v'chashamen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzur kol haolamim tzadik bechol hadorot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer ve'oseh hamdaber umkayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al ha'nevi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha ve'limnucha lakavod ultifaret al ha'kol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach umvarechim otach yitbarach shimcha bepi kol chai Tamid leolam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai
Baruchu u'Baruch Shemo
Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Now, Sam, you noticed when you finished your maftir, you noticed that I chanted something, right? Because you know that you ended a book of Torah, and I chanted Chazak, Chazak, Vanit Chazek. And we chant that 3 times, and it means be strong, and we will be strengthened. So I'm saying that to you because your family is about to pelt candy at you, and I wish you strength, okay? All right, so you stand right here, and we want to celebrate the joy and sweetness of this moment. Go for it. Simen tova, mazel tova, mazel tova, simen tova, mazel tova, mazel tova, simen tova, mazel tova, mazel tova, simen tova, yelanu. Simen tova, mazel tova, mazel tova, simen tova, mazel tova, simen tova, mazel tova, simen tova, yelanu. Mazel tov. Anybody that picks it up can keep it.
Mazel tov!
Wow, there you go. Wow. Okay. All right. We're going to conclude our beautiful service as we return the Torah to the Ark. I'm going to ask you to please rise as we open the Ark for the Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol la'teit gedula li'yotzer bereshit shelo asanu kegoyeh haratzot velo samanu kehamat shelo samech elkeinu kahem v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam va'anachnu korim u'mishrachavim u'modim invite you to remain standing for Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. We think of those no longer with us who are here in spirit. We think of those who have nobody to say Kaddish for them. If the family has anybody they would like to mention, please feel free. Or anybody on the Zoom, if you are able. Okay, let's recite together Kaddish Yatom. It's page 294. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah v'alma divrach irite v'yamlich malchute v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kari v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam ulamei almaya yitbarak v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yidadar v'yidhaleh v'yidhalal shemei dekudesha barichu Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, ta'amiran bi'alma v'yimru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, v'yimru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael, v'yimru, amen. May God who makes peace in the heavens send peace and a sense of wholeness to all of us below as we say together, amen. And you may be seated. Just a couple more things that we want to do with you, Sam. We have some gifts for you from the temple, on behalf of the temple and our board of trustees. Just wanted to show you that we have, first of all, a traveling Tanakh, a traveling Bible. So we hope that when you go to University of Florida, like your sister, and you become a Gator, because you should, you can take this with you. And this is a Kiddush cup from the Sisterhood. We hope that you will use this in your home on Shabbat and other occasions, and God willing, under the chuppah one day with your partner. And we have some certificates. First of all, to make it official, we have your beautiful Bar Mitzvah certificate. And we have a wonderful offering from Nifty in Israel, $250 toward a trip to Israel right after your confirmation year, as well as a $500 gift certificate if you go on the Alexander Muss High School in Israel as well. And these are all for you. I think there's one more in here. There's, yes, it's in here. There's an additional gift certificate that the clergy and staff have planted a tree in Israel in your honor. So Mazel Tov again, just some additional tokens for you on your big day. Okay, and I think we are ready to end this service with Havdalah. Havdalah comes from the verb lihavdil, to make a distinction. We make that distinction between the holiness of Shabbat, the sacredness, and the profane, the mundane, the simplicity of the rest of the week. And we do so by drinking wine, symbolizing sweetness, smelling, remembering these smells of this incredible moment as we go into this next week. So we're going to ask if your family would like to come up. Any of you are invited to come up for Havdalah, to stand behind this table as we chant the blessings together. Shabbat is coming to an end, and we wish each other traditionally a Shavua Tov, a good week, as we enter into this new week. Shavua Tov, 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 Shavua Tov. A good week, a week of peace, make gladness reign and joy increase. A good week, a week of peace, make gladness reign and joy increase. Wish each other a Shavua Tov and a Mazel Tov.